This video covers after-action reports. We'll assume that you've been working on an incident and that you're starting from an incident's detail page where all the information is linked. When you go to an incident, this is an incident right here, an incident page with the widgets on the right-hand side, then it's the last column on the right, after action reports, last one. And I mentioned that there's that little downward facing triangle, and that turns into a new button, so I can create a new after action report from this title bar. Then the form of the content should be very familiar. When you select your entity type in after action reports, you can select one up here, and it would be OA, state, or none. Then the appropriate fields will be activated below. So if you choose one, it activates some. If you choose another, it activates different fields here. And there's a little link for viewing the dependencies, so you can see which ones are likely to activate with which choices. This is the community portal. This is the Cal EOC 360 application and the RRS. These are the two applications available in our training. Here are all those very nice icons that we showed you. After action reports are down here. Let's take a look at after action reports. So here we are, after action, recently viewed. I'm going to change this to all so we can see examples of everything going on in the after action reports. The interesting thing about this list view is here are the after action reports. You can always tell what things are by what they start with. AAR, after action reports. Here's the incident name. You can click to get the details of this incident, which will take you completely out of after action reports. And then the entity type, state or operational area or none, the agency that's filing these, the status that they're in. If you are filing an after action report, you can save it in draft mode. That starts the clock. Two things about this. It starts the clock and you don't have to have all the required information in. However, once you hit submitted and you've submitted your draft after action report into it's really submitted, then you can't edit it anymore. Then you have to ask the Cal OES AAR team to assist you with any changes that you might need after the time. Here's a nice status countdown so you know just how far along your countdown is going. Who submitted, who is the submitting OA if it came from an OA. The incident category, this is the AAR categories, which are fairly specific. The start and end date, you can optionally click the edit button here to edit this record. Let's take a quick look at one of these. This is an AAR details page. We have two tabs up here that I'd like to draw your attention to. Details, which is the overview and all the information included in the after action report, and then the history. The history includes all the information about when this was created and any changes that were made. Let's take a look at the details. This is attached to a particular incident. Here it's earthquake Hancock, Sacramento. Incident category is earthquake. The start and end date were last year sometime. The status, it's in draft mode. Draft mode is interesting because you don't have to have all the fields filled in. Once you're ready to submit, you have to have all the fields filled in with some information. It might be just N/A if that field doesn't really apply to your after action report. The status countdown, as soon as you hit save draft or submit, you have a 90-day countdown. In the right column, creating on behalf of another OA. If you are, there's a checkbox to indicate that. The entity type in this case is an operational area. This might also be suitable for state agencies to use. Submitting OA, Sacramento County in this case, there's no particular agency or department because I'm an operational area. There's a section for the background. In this case, this was an earthquake with a magnitude 7.3 affecting Sacramento County at 5:15 a.m., continued shaking throughout the day. The next section is reporting requirements according to California Code of Regulations Title 19, Section 2450. This includes response activities, recovery activities to date, modifications to plans and procedures, and applications of SEMS. Also, there is a checkbox for recommended changes to SEMS and identified training needs. The next section, lessons learned. What are the strengths and successes of the work that you did? What are the areas needing improvement? What actions to address those improvement areas? And then the final section is other relevant information. If there's information that you'd like to include in this after action report that hasn't been reported elsewhere on the form, you can use this field for that information. The last thing here is this is who created and modified the information in this after action report. We can find return, printable view, and edit options here. If you are in the same OA or same state agency, you'll be able to edit after action reports within your same OA or agency. Let's take a look at this on the site. Here we are on the Cal EOC 360 community homepage. Let's see how to create an after action report. The icon is at the bottom. Click on this. Remember that clicking on an icon takes you to a list view, and the list view defaults to recently viewed. What if this isn't the list that I want? Choose this downward facing arrow to choose another list view. I might choose by region or by entity type. In this case, let's take a quick look at all so you can see what the list might look like. You can go directly to each of these after action reports using the link under the ID column. You can also go directly to an incident to take a look at the details page for that incident. This is the entity type that last filed these after action reports. This is the agency that would have filed if they were agencies. Here's the status. Most of these are in draft mode. If you're in draft or submit mode, either one of those will start the 90-day clock. So once you start entering your information, you've got 90 days. This is the status. You can see they're at 83 days or 74 days or whatever is left in their 90-day period. This column is submitting OAs, the incident category, specific for AARs, the incident start date, and the incident end date. As with most apps, you can edit the record from the downward-facing triangle on the far right side. Let's take a look at one as an example. A quick review, wayfinding is on the left so you can tell where you are. Here we're in After Action Reports and we're looking specifically at this After Action Report. On the right is the action buttons. You can return to where you were last or get a printable view of this After Action Report. The printable view will also be print ready, and then an edit button in case you need to update any of the information here. The first section is details. That's what's going on here. This is an overview of what this after action report applies to. So it includes the incident name, which you can look up or you can work from. The incident category, incident start and end date. The status here is in draft mode. You can see this one was started a few days ago. On the right-hand column, creating on behalf of another OA. This one was not. This was filed by an OA or started by an OA. Sacramento County agency and department would be appropriate if you are a state agency. And then here's a section for background information, a section for reporting requirements. Here's the section for lessons learned. And the last section, other relevant information. At the bottom of this is a widget for adding files. Let's take a look at how we would create a new one. From the list view, you can find the action button on the right. Remember that if you start from the incident and use the widget, After Action Reports widget, it'll include the incident information. In this case, we're starting from the After Action icon. We don't have the information included. Incident category in this case is earthquake. Status, we can leave it draft. If you're in draft mode, you do not have to have a completed After Action report. When you hit submit, you will have to have something in every field, even if it's NA, if that field doesn't apply to you. You do not have the capability of extending your 90 days. That's for the AAR admin group. Entity type over here, this is a three-way choice. If you are an operational area, then this field will come up. For submitting OAs, it'll ask you which county you're in. If you choose state in this field, then it will ask you which agency you're with and which department you're with. And if you choose none in this category, like Cal OES, then you would not have to fill out any of these dependent fields. Scrolling down, here's a field for the incident background information. If you see these little hash marks on the lower right corner of any of these fields, this means you can drag that little hash mark down to give yourself a little more reporting room. Scrolling down, the reporting requirements section. There are several fields to fill out there. Then scrolling further down, lessons learned, strengths and successes. And then the bottom field is other relevant information. Then click Save, ready to go. That's it for After Action Reports. If you have questions, please let us know at rsi.support at caloes.ca.gov.